Tape marker, action. What is going on, everybody? What is happening? Happy Sunday. Happy Zack Snyder weekend. What's going on, everybody? How's everyone doing?
Hello, guys.
How's it going, everyone?
I'm doing great. I think weekend after this Snyder cut releasing and everything, it's been great. No hangover or anything. But yeah, you're left just wanting more and more and more. But at the same time,
Awesome.
It's just been a great week seeing people like accept the Snyder cut and praise it and all this stuff. Like not everyone, but at least the large majority of people.
Yeah, no, I couldn't agree more, Lex. Man, it's awesome seeing us talking about. Now we can talk about spoilers. Dylan, what's going on, man? Special guest
Not
Dylan.
much, man.
What's up, dude? I know a little behind the scene camera, real quick. I know he texted me, be like, "Hey, what the hell? Like, you got Snyder cut? What the heck?" And I was just like, "Dude, I told Justin, bro. I told Justin, and
Shame.
he's all like, what the." But yeah, it's awesome to have you on the spoilers, man. I can't wait to give. So we're gonna start off with you, man. We're gonna go ahead and give us, if you wanted to do ratings first, or because me and Lex, what was your rating on this film? I think yours was like 9.5, 9.6.
No, I think it was 9.3.
9.3.
I'm considering like revisiting my scoring, but I want to give the movie one more watch. Actually, I've only seen it once, but then some friends that came from out of town, they started watching the second half of it. But I needed to get ready and shower and all this stuff, so I only caught a little bit. But even just sitting down with them for like maybe 20 minutes of what they were watching, it was just like, man, I just want to hit like start from the beginning again. So I'm gonna give it one more full watch from beginning to end and revisit my because just the more I think about it back, like I love the movie so much. So
yeah,
we'll
for sure. Dylan, man, what's your rating of this film? Mine was a 9.6, 9.7.
Really? I thought you said 5. No, it might have been a 6. 9.6, I think.
Yeah, 9.6. Okay, yeah. It was in the high 9s. We'll say a little over 9.5. Yeah, Dylan, I mean, what was your rating on this? A few sentences here. What did you think of this movie, man? Before we touch up on spoilers.
I love whole numbers, so I'm gonna give it a 9 out of 10.
I like
I prefer the whole numbers. I
Yeah.
feel like every problem I personally had with this movie could easily be fixed. I don't know, maybe 30, 45 minutes in the editing room, some small changes, and then I'm sure we'll get into it a little bit later in the video, but I'm gonna go ahead and say it since we talked about it earlier. Yes, it does have to do mostly with the music. On the changes,
dude. What the hell? Okay,
and I will be the first to admit there are a couple of Whedon scenes that I did miss, mainly being the opening scene with Batman. I feel like Whedon kind of nailed Batman with the parademon in the opening of the first one, and so I did miss that scene a little bit.
It's funny. And being a huge Batman fan that I am, I did not. I was happy not to see that scene. I was happy not to see it, just because I couldn't. The Batman that came on that scene, that opening scene, was just not the Batman that. I don't know. It just didn't seem right. It seemed out of place. It seemed like it was forced. I don't know. It was just very different, very weird vibe out of there. Even when I first saw it in theaters at the Draft House, I did not like it. Oh, go ahead, Lex.
I'll say this. Though I disagree to an extent, I kind of get the sentiment of where he's coming from, just because out of the Whedon scenes from the last movie, that is like the least like fucked up one, if that makes sense. So like that was actually, it was one of the few that is actually like originally made, as opposed to let me just work on top of what Snyder did, but take out the context, take out the substance and all this stuff. Because we gotta admit, like, Whedon did a lot of that, but that scene was composed, from an original standpoint, and I did like some elements of it. Looking back at it, though, it's interesting that he mentions it, because looking back at it, while I agree that I did not super dislike that scene, there were some cool aspects of it. Certain things that scene sets up, I have problems with just knowing that it leads to Whedon's reworkings, like the fact that parademons like smelt fear, and the fact that the parademons upon explosion showcase 3 mother boxes, whereas in the Snyder cut it's more of like Wonder Woman's discoveries, right?
Yes, exactly. I love that more.
I do prefer that, over the.
Yeah, so
it's.
Would you rather see Gal Gadot more than? I mean, what's? I was kidding.
No. And then like the fear thing was set up so that the parademons would take away Steppenwolf, which is once again a lesser version of what we got, and we'll talk about it more. But so I understand, like the scene, I'm not super upset of. It's just the things that it sets up is it's what upsets me the most.
Exactly.
I didn't like how cheap, how very short of that how the parademon, and then whenever Batman caught it, it was like it turned into 3 little things, like those 3, which it symbolized the mother box. I was like, this is a cheaply kind of short way to really help us understand it all. It's just like, I mean, look at here. We talk about these films. We talk about Marvel. It took 10 years to create the stones. Each of them had their own storyline. So I hated that from the get-go. I was just like, really? That's it? And then they show us a small little story, but which we can talk about it now. It's a spoilers, guys. I mean, dude, they elaborated on little tidbits of what this story really was. Like, that's what upset the hell out of, like, it upsetted me so, it was very unsettling. Or that scene where, like, the mother box, I don't know, I'm jumping ahead. The scene where the mother box, where they actually explain the mother boxes, it's literally like 10 to 15 minutes long, but like we only got like a few minutes out of it. Like, dude, what is the matter with them over there? Like, dude, why do you cut out this whole great scene? You see Ares, we see Zeus, we see all these different gods in here, the Atlanteans, we see a lantern die, we see so much shit going on in this. Oh, sorry, we got to see so much stuff going on in this one scene. And didn't we
get a smaller version of that same war though in Josh Whedon's? Because I remember that. I remember Zeus. I remember the lantern.
I didn't like how the way they did it though. It just felt too. I felt like I was missing something.
Yeah, and I will see now that we've seen this version. Like, I will say, definitely you could see where Whedon cut out a lot of stuff that was totally necessary. On that.
Exactly.
I think a lot of it also had to do with Warner Brothers like totally wanting to cut out Darkseid. Like, they just didn't want to go that way.
Yeah, it was totally very different. Totally
they tried to localize it all with Steppenwolf, and it didn't work.
But see, even at that though, they didn't rely on Steppenwolf, because in this spoilers cut, we actually get identity to Steppenwolf in a sense to where like we start feeling sorry for the guy. Like, almost, it's just like, dude, this guy has no choice because he's betrayed Darkseid, and it's just like, dude, you start feeling for this guy. It's like, it's weird how this film really like. I mean, obviously they made him not as demonic, more alien, which I liked. But again, it comes down to like story wise, how people can relate to his characters, because it felt like they were going to twist his character at the very end. Obviously that didn't happen, but it felt like they were going to twist it, like he was going to come to the good side or something. Just like, I'm tired of you, Darkseid, screw you, and like I thought he was going to try to attack Darkseid. But again, I mean, I love this a lot more. I love Steppenwolf here a lot more. As far as like the CGI, the VFX, I love that a lot more. Damn, that was good.
Yeah, I don't know why. Yeah. I don't know what went through Whedon's mind when he sat down and said, "Hey, we're just gonna totally take what BVS did and just throw that out the window, and then redesign the whole character." Like, I don't. Who thought that was okay? I don't know.
Once we start talking about, there's a few scenes in particular, I'll share a little bit insight that apparently there was a specific mindset that Whedon had as to why to cut certain things, but part of it I think is like BS, and then the other part of it is like insulting to movie audiences. I'll cover it a little bit more. There's one specific scene where I know that this was his mindset, but. Awesome. I think we can definitely cover like the parts or the
so we'll start with this
things that
so we're gonna go ahead and start off real quick. We're gonna start with the death of Superman and Wixom boxes, of course, part 1, guys. A lot of stuff happens in this part 1. I love part 1 because it's a huge freaking setup, ladies and gentlemen. We see the death of Superman, that intense scene of BVS, dude. I love how this starts off. It feels like it starts off right after BVS, and it just creates that same intensity, the death of Superman comic that we long to love and adore. It comes down to it, just the exact emotions that we feel for Henry Cavill. I mean, dude, he's screaming, he's yelling, he's in pain. And again, though, we're gonna touch up on this, Lex, because I know we talked about it on and off camera, and let's debate here real quick. The death of Superman in BVS, did they not hint that he was regenerating already?
At the end of it?
Yeah, at the end, right? He was coming. Yeah. So why did they need to do the mother boxes? Let's go a little geeky here. Let's turn. If he just needed this, I mean, it looked like he was coming back to life, right? That's what it really.
I mean, it showed movement. I don't know. Yeah. I don't necessarily know that everyone had to interpret it as always coming back to life.
Yeah. Because in the comics, we see him in the Fortress of Solitude. Mm-hmm. So
but in the comics, he still needed help. So in the comics, there were some robots inside of the Fortress of Solitude that were Kryptonian. Yes. And they did a bunch of stuff to kind of like jumpstart him using solar power. And actually, as a matter of fact, the black suit in the comic books was storing that power and
it would absorb the sun.
So like in both versions, Superman still doesn't come back organically on its own. He needs some sort of jumpstart. I do like that they explain how the mother boxes accomplish that, but I agree that for like it would be confusing just to see like the ground lift off a little bit from Superman's coffin. But I think it was kind of like a representation, not only to set something up, right? Yeah. Like the excitement of his return, but I do think like it could just imply that, Superman being different, right? Being Kryptonian and stuff like that. There's just energy there just waiting to get that jump start.
I always took it more of like that's a sign that the story is not done. Not necessarily he's gonna jump out the coffin on his own.
I wanted him just to come out on his own, not using mother box. I really wanted him to be in that, in that Fortress of Solitude kind of feel or kind of way, because we never really. I mean, it just I don't know. I just wanted to have that type of Kryptonian technology that saved him and brought him back to life. He was just regenerating, I guess, or hybrid, or however you want to say it, regenerating the whole time, like a whole few months or however long it took after BVS. Let's just say he was generating that whole time. I think I would have liked that a lot more. But again, though, I mean, we saw the mother box, we saw how they jump started him, so that was pretty cool to see Flash and everything and all that stuff. And then also, after this, I like how also they elaborated as soon as he died, like the whole world, like it was just like a boom, like a earthquake to the whole world, or letting everyone know like all this stuff, and so I love that about this, man. That was pretty good.
What I liked is that like from the first shot you understand it's a different movie, right? Based on the fact that it opens differently, but most importantly, like it adds some level of consistency to Snyder's work, because you think about it, Batman vs Superman started with the end of Man of Steel. And now we have Justice League starting with the end of Batman vs Superman. Exactly. It's kind of like, almost like a signature thing, but it was just a beautiful sequence. And someone I think like, oh, I've seen this already, but just like the wave field, his calling out also ties back to what Batman vs Superman set up at the end, whether you like it or not. It was set up like by Lex Luthor saying that the bells have been rung. And that is quite literally just showing us that the bell rang. And I don't remember, but like in Josh Whedon's cut, I don't think there was ever an explanation on why the boxes woke up. It was just like they woke up for the sake of it.
I think it was Kryptonian death. I kind of feel. I mean, it goes back to that scene. I feel like the old Kryptonian blood that spilled, I guess, so to speak. I guess that really triggered everything and turned them on, because it opened the gateway.
But the thing is, like, that's what I'm saying. Taking this scene out, this opening out, I don't think. And if you rewatch the the original theatrical release, I don't ever think that was apparent. It was implied, but I don't think it was apparent.
No,
and
it was never directly said.
Yeah,
exactly.
Never
directly said it. It was just like you said. It was like very faintly.
They did all they said, and we got it from the theoretical cut, guys. And I like to erase that. I'm gonna erase that from my mind, by the way. They said no lanterns and no Kryptonians, which they did elaborate a lot on. They said that probably like 3 times, I would say, throughout the film. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I mean, they said no lanterns and no Kryptonians. Yeah. So that just shows like, okay, that death must have triggered something. So
I feel like this for sure. This movie as a whole delivered a lot more explanation on things that were started in the other movies way better than the theatrical cut ever did.
Agreed.
Like this had payoffs for things like he said that were set up in BVS, were set up in Man of Steel. Mm-hmm. You know, like things, all that like finally got tied up.
For sure. Let's skip over to Aquaman's recruitment, guys. That recruitment scene, dude. Okay, I know. I told Lex already, Dylan, bruh. That scene of the theoretical cut, I freaking hated it, man. I hated it. Make Batman look like an idiot. Made him look like a dumb piece of crap. Made him look like not be Batman, dude.
This is where we're gonna argue, bro.
Oh, dude. Okay.
I liked it.
Dude. Okay, so that scene in there where he's actually talking. I mean, Jason Momoa, right? And they make him seem like Batman's all puny, and they could throw him away. They could just, he's like, because he has no powers, right? Let's be honest, he has no powers. Okay, I get that. But I mean, he's a detective, man. I mean, he knows he's usually one step ahead of everybody. So the thing is, though, that I didn't get was that scene where he sees them in that village, where they're in that house, or he's talking to him, and he picks him up out of nowhere out of anger, and I was just like, "What the hell's going on? Why is he picking up Batman like he's nobody?" Well, he was really being a smart ASS. In the Zack Snyder's cut, we got more elaboration, like why he got upset. We see that here because Zack's or Ben Affleck's pretending not to Batman. He's pretending not to know the language. In reality, he freaking knows it, man. He pisses Jason Momoa off.
That's why I think my perfect cut of this movie would have been a mixture of both of those scenes, because I would have kept the joke. I would have kept the joke about him talking to fish.
Dude, I hated that joke. I thought it was great. I hated that joke. No, dude, I hated that joke with a passion.
I love that one. I would have kept that, and I would have. But like you said, I would have had Bruce always a step ahead. Like he knew he was talking to Arthur the whole time.
Exactly.
He knew the Russian. He just didn't speak it. Yeah. I would have kept all of that from the Snyder. I would have kept the fish joke. I would have the whole thing with him picking him up. This is like what we talked about earlier. I would have kept the music. The music was way better in the Whedon cut.
God.
The song.
Oh my god. What? Oh man. Come on, Dylan. Oh, dude.
I mean, I don't know how you could listen to that song and be like, oh yeah, that fits with that scene.
Okay,
Other than him talking about a king, like
yeah. So you talking about the ocean scene where he's getting in the water, where he's about to get in the water? You talking about that? Mm-hmm. Okay, yeah. So that actually, that's funny you mentioned that. That scene right there, actually, I did not like the music, dude. I'm weird, man. Call me weird. Call me, I didn't like the music in the theoretical cut.
Oh, I like the
yeah. So we're reversed right there, man. Lex, what do you think? Well, be the tiebreaker here.
I'm trying to remember. Okay, yeah, because
he's about to get in the water. The water splashing in his face. Yeah, there's like
on the Snyder one, there's like a vocalized song, right?
Yes.
Then on the
Josh, it's like a Iron Man kind of feel, like dun dun. It's like a weird, almost like a.
I don't remember. I need. This is gonna make me look really bad on here, but I can't remember the name of that song. Yeah, I know it's a famous song.
I gotta say it's tough. I get where Dylan's coming from, actually, because I don't think I prefer one score over another. I feel like that's where I know it's a very neutral thing to say, but like, because that's one thing I did take away, and actually I've been trying to like let this sink in for a little bit, because I was like, you know what? Out of all the things, like, I do think the score at some level I enjoyed the original cut. I think that Aquaman scene, I could say that's one more definite where I do think that the theatrical cut because it fit Aquaman kind of like that rock star style, that particular scene. I hated that they cut out so much of the scene itself though, because it was just like the scene with a lot more of the slow-mo shots was really cool. And even like the scene like in the Whedon cut, Aquaman just drops off the dude and he's like, the drink is on him and whatever. In this one, I really like the line where he was talking about how like this is what happens when you don't respect the ocean, right? So it just adds more levels. And you know, a big theme of this is just that a lot of scenes were not given the time to, you know, breathe, right? And
agreed.
Again, like Dylan said, you know, it was probably a studio issue as well, since they were claiming that hard 2-hour cut. Although there's no excuse. There was some scenes that we're going to cover that you just you look at them and you're not like, oh, that's one that's cuttable, right? Like there were some stupid decisions made. But yeah, I would say like the scores were on 50-50. There are some elements of Junkie's work or Junkie XL's work that I would keep that worked really well for the Snyder cut. They felt a little bit more epic in certain
scenes.
There you
go.
I was gonna say she commented a while back, but go ahead. I'm sorry, Lex. Go ahead.
No worries. But the
scores.
But then on Danny, is it Danny Elfman? The who did the score for the Whedon cut? Right?
I believe so. I think he does most of his stuff.
Okay. Because, I mean, Danny Elfman is brilliant in terms of, like, you look at the Spider-Man score, right? He worked on that, and he's done a lot of Tim Burton stuff. If I'm not
he's no
well, he did I love Hans Zimmer, I think. But he did Spider-Man, he did Batman Returns. So he's a genius in his own thing. But his score did try to go too much into the nostalgic, right? Because there was like some OG Batman scores and stuff like that, which you know, it makes you happy, but at the same time, does it fit the tone? Or you know, that's kind of where like the line is drawn. But like I said, overall, I'm sorry for running this point too much, but I do feel 50-50. But walking out of the movie, that's one of the things I started thinking about the most. I was like, you know what? There's actually some parts of the OG score that I would have kept. But of course, it's at the end of the day, it's just better to have it all uniform under a single artist. But I would have loved to see like I would have loved to see Hans Zimmer's work on this.
For sure, man. I mean, I've always loved his work when it comes to the Nolan film, Nolan verse, and I mean, he's done all the Nolan. Really, a lot of his films, I would say, they really co-intact with each other as far as dramatic roles and as far as setting the tone. I feel like for this one, let's go to skip a little bit. So pacing, the different scenes. So the Amazons. Let's go right here. The mascara here, guys. That scene of the Amazons is freaking amazing. God, that's a beautiful scene, dude.
Amazon versus Steppenwolf.
Dude, that scene right there is really big. It's a really again, it gets me ticked off because I'm just like, it feels like that footage was cut in half on the Joss Whedon cut. And I was just like, dude, like there's so much like that I wanted to see. And we got to see a few really new close-up faces on one of the Amazons here. And I mean, it just we got to see just a whole totally, it's the same, the same what do you call it? The same it's not the same footage, but it's the same, endpoint. And it just totally differently, man. It's crazy, dude.
Yeah.
I was so astonished on that. I was like, man.
Even from Steppenwolf's standpoint, like it felt like an invasion. It felt like an invasion, right? The other one was kind of like in quick battle, that's it. And the Amazons still look badass because a lot of the scenes were Snyder's, right? But actually, with those fights, with those fights, the Amazon fights, I think most of his footage was done, but like you said, it's the context and that the fact that the scenes didn't breathe. Like, why would they cut the scene where the queen says, show them show them your fear, and then they were like,
yes,
we have no fear. Like
we have, dude. That was awesome, bro.
Yeah.
That was awesome, dude. I was just like, Amazons, man.
That's just Amazon 101. Like, if it was
Yeah.
written and it was filmed, why cut that part? Like, that was just giving me chills.
Yes, they did that for 300. It's just, you know, and they did that same kind of feel, and I was just like, well, why are they not doing it with the Amazons, dude? Like, that's the whole point. Like, that's the whole point of this. And then, like, you see how built they are. You see how built those people that were hitting the stones. We saw they're bodybuilders, man. They're crazy, man. Like, it's awesome, legit. I love how they really touched up so much on the way the entrance was, that entrance end scene, guys, where we got to see those two Amazons lifted up for their queen. That was just astonishing. That was beautiful, man. Like, seeing that's loyalty, that's like commitment, that's loyalty from as a child to seeing her as the head mother, you know, just as their queen, man. That's awesome to see, dude. That was truly amazing in that scene.
And the fact that on the first movie, it was just like, oh, close the doors, but then Steppenwolf comes out through the wall, and it's like, okay, well, what was the point of closing it? But we now see that on the Snyder cut, it's
the whole thing,
the door and let it fall.
Yeah, the whole thing fell underwater.
Yep.
And it goes back to, like, they said, we have no fear, because they probably knew that the plan is, if they lock those doors, we're gonna die in here, and their sacrifice.
That's exactly what they knew.
And I was very emotional, man. I was just like, my eyes were getting red. I was like, oh my god, these Amazons are just freaking dying left and right, man. They lost a lot of Amazons there, and now it's almost like Rogue One feel, you know. I'm just like, dude, I want to go fight for the rebels, man. I want to screw the Empire. Like, it almost got you going for Rogue One. Like, I want to fight. Like, and that's what I felt like for these Amazons. Like, dude, man, they're going out like left and right. It was truly a real, you know, got me a little emotional there, man. I was like, damn, dude, like they're sacrificing a lot. Like, they lost a lot more people than the Atlanteans. Like, the Atlanteans probably lost like three people. 3 or 4, like, dude, they weren't even guarding it, really. I was like, what the heck? I mean,
right.
I mean,
they
also,
got them in the middle of a shift change.
Yeah.
Well, also, like, the what's it called? The only things I had problems with in the scenes that threw me off for a little bit, and it had me worried for, like, the CGI, the rest of the movies. The CGI in that sequence is good. There were some motion, like the horses and stuff like that, especially like the horses speeding up, where, like, the motion was a little janky on the CGI. And I was like, oh, I hope, like, that doesn't happen too many times, because it can kind of start taking you away. But once again, it was like a smaller thing that I noticed that looked a little awkward. Everything else looked pretty much finished. But then also, like, particularly the scene with the queen, I know it was for a dramatic purpose, but that's the one scene where I think, like, the slow-mo overdid it a little bit, just a tad bit. Because I think she went into 3 different versions of her running in slow motion, where, like, it would be slow-mo, then back to just regular movement, then she would just, like, start slow-mo again. And I was like, but the good news is, like, that didn't happen too much into the movies. There were a lot of slow-mo sequence, but I'm saying it didn't happen too much where it was slow-mo, and I felt like that's too much. Everything else actually played out quite nicely, but overall I was pretty satisfied with that scene.
That scene was great.
It once again proved at different levels, at different stages of you know, the parts that this movie was split into, you get big takeaways of, like, okay, you know what, that was actually close to the theatrical release, but the context was entirely different. So in many levels, this movie was different.
For sure. I totally agree with you there, man.
Another one they expanded on, I feel like, more was the scene of them shooting the arrow.
Yeah.
Yes. That scene. Yes.
They added a good.
That was a bigger thing. Even just like the little ritual that they had, and
dude, yes, because the other one they just shot it, and that was it. I was like, what the? I was all like, what are they doing? And then, I mean, you get the gist of it, but it's just, you feel like it felt like you're missing something, man. It's just like, okay, where does this arrow come from? Because then again, the radical cut, all you see them is putting it, like, you don't even see them putting it on the harpoon. It just shoots. It just goes boom. That's it. And then they're letting them know. And then I think the next scene was the queen, where she was saying, like, oh, we need to let Diana know, and that was it. And I was all like, okay, well, what like, I love that we got to see more insight into that.
Yeah, and I mean,
the arrows were special. You know, they actually got a name,
and they were created a long time ago. Yeah, man, that was really good to see.
Yeah, and the finding of that arrow leads. By the way, this is going into part 2, right? Like Steppenwolf versus Amazonians. That is where part 1 concluded. So in part 2, it leads to Wonder Woman's discovery, right? She finds the arrow, and once again, a bunch of scenes that needed a little bit more breathability, finding out more about it. But the big part that was cut out was that when she found that arrow in that same spot, the arrow was a key. The arrow was a key to a cavern inside of that temple, where fire went on, and it allowed her to find out more about Darkseid. So it's like it makes sense as to why Wonder Woman at a later point in the movie had so much information about Darkseid's invasion, whereas in the Whedon cut, I just implied like, oh, this is something she read up on when she was a kid or whatever. But I just
because it seemed like in the other, and I got it a little bit in this movie, but the room explanation gives it more sense. But it almost felt like she was there when it happened, but we know for a fact she wasn't.
Yeah,
you know, like we know she wasn't that.
We saw the trailers, though. We saw it in the trailers.
So it was just like we knew the Amazons were there, but we knew that she wasn't there. But it kind of like in the Whedon cut, since it was so rushed, it was like, oh, maybe she was there, maybe she saw it herself. Like,
yeah,
why does she know so much? You know,
exactly. It wasn't really interpreted in the Josh Whedon cut, I guess, so to speak. Yeah.
And it allowed for the mystification of Darkseid even more, right?
Yes.
Like there was glyphs on the wall showing his image.
It looked like an ancient Egyptian kind of style, and that's what I loved about it. I was like, damn, dude, like this is
hieroglyphics. And,
this is awesome.
It
awesome.
Once again, it started planting those seeds of like, hey, this dude, you know, people been scared of him, and or they won against them back in the day, but you know,
it took a lot. It took 2 gods. It took 2 gods were there, and then
2 gods and the rest of the world.
Yeah, the rest of the Atlanteans and Amazons.
But yeah, once again, it's just about context and the fact that we didn't want it to be just Steppenwolf. Like it just made no sense. It even starts going into you know, as we're following some of the notes that we have here, in this part 2, it also talks about Steppenwolf's betrayal, which we've talked about. We've talked about how his story, right? Yeah,
we get more one-on-one with Steppenwolf, and I like that, man. I like seeing us a different side of the villain that we got, because again, the other one was more demonic. This one was it didn't feel like as an invasion as this one did. Good word choice by you guys. Awesome that we're choosing here, and we get to see exactly. We start feeling for the guy, man, like exactly how he feels. Like it feels like he's forced to be here. It's like he doesn't even want to be here. And I'm just like, what the hell's going on? And you start feeling for the guy. And we actually got more conversations with him, with Darkseid. We got to see more conversations that was not in the movie, in the Joss Whedon cut. We got to see a lot more conversations between him and the Apocalypse Planet. And we got to see that a lot more here, which I did love about it. That was really good. I love that. A lot of different interpretations here, and when it comes down to like even the voice, man, the voice interpretation was so different for Steppenwolf. Like it was very, very different, man. I mean, I don't know. It just for me, it was very different, different tone. I would say again, we go back to the score, Dylan. I know we have our differences on the score. I don't know. I like the score for this one so much because it was very dramatic scores. It was very, but again, though, not everyone likes that. Not everyone likes the dramatic score. They like more of the upbeats and everything. That's cool too.
I don't remember what exact part it's in, so I'll bring it up now while we're talking about it. But there was a couple of flash scenes that had music that I felt like didn't need music. Like it didn't have music in the theatrical cut, and he added music to it, and I was like, this doesn't work. Like the music's just real distracting. I don't remember exactly what part it was in.
Was it when
I think it was during the fight. I think it was during like
I was gonna say I was happy for them not to save another family that was just randomly there. That was good.
That was
That was
stupid.
That was because the fact that like they talked about, and even the original cut talked about how this place was former nuclear plant, and it had radiation and stuff like that. I know they mentioned like, oh, this is where people go to live when there's nowhere else to live, but
exactly.
I mean, in all reality, if there's high levels of radiation, like
you're not going to go there. But we got to see exactly what he did, though. Remember, they talked about that in the film too. He sucked up all that radiation. He was using it all. He used it, yeah. So, and also we got to see exactly why he chose that place, because again, they didn't touch that up on Joss Whedon's cut either. They didn't touch up on. They just went to that place. They knew exactly where he was at. And again, though, it really touches on the details, smaller details here on the backstory of how a movie should really flow and everything. And I
think in the Whedon cut, though, there was like a small tidbit of a cyborg looking for him.
Yes,
and he was able to pinpoint it due to like energy. I think
he plugged into the computer, right?
Yeah, but they never talked about why he picked that spot.
Why he chose, because it didn't really show. It didn't really show Steppenwolf choose a site. That's what I get. Mm-hmm. That's what I meant to say.
Yeah. Well, exactly. and at one point, like, so once again, this movie expanded on Steppenwolf's reasons, right? Like, he previously betrayed Darkseid. Darkseid found out. Darkseid's, of course, more powerful. He wanted redemption. He wanted his honor back, so he needed to conquer 50,000 more worlds. And you know, he was like, "Oh shit, that's too much work." But what's funny is like, it kind of makes sense now. Like, okay, the family being introduced there, right? In the Whedon cut. It's like, and the parademons were hunting the family and keeping other people hostage per se. And it's like, now that you have Steppenwolf's reasons behind it, like he doesn't have time for that. He's not there to take hostages. He's there to get the 3 boxes together. And then at that point, you know, world is over and he regains his honor. Like, he had a more clear focus, right? Like, it just, and once again, the Whedon cut never really said like, oh, like, I'm going to keep them hostage. But the fact that the parademons were harassing the family, no, like, that's not how it would work. Like, it's just like, all that Steppenwolf did was tell the parademons, "Give me the boxes." Like, I don't
exactly
even care.
That was
the only time he took hostages was for a reason. He wanted the information rather than just, oh, let me terrorize this world.
Well, not just that though, but it was. I mean, it was a reason because they had the scent of the boxes on them.
Yeah,
remember that's what he said. Yeah, then we saw that here. We got more elaboration there.
And that was the time where the parademons couldn't find it. So he's like, "Fuck, I'm just gonna do it myself." I'm sorry about that.
No, you're good. You're good, dude.
But yeah, no, there was multiple scenes where he was talking to Desaad, which is a new character introduced in the Snyder cut, and he was telling him like, "Hey, this is my status report," and Desaad was like just mean to him. He was like,
he's being a dick.
Dude, you're trash.
He was being a dick, man.
Boxes. Like, he was talking to him like, "Oh, I would have found him already." And so this is kind of when you saw a little bit of that frustration of Steppenwolf, and he kind of just went into action after that.
And you understand, you really understand his situation. Again, I'll say it again, like, we got to see a different side of Steppenwolf here, and I love that about it. That's what I love. I love seeing different sides of stories, same story, just different side. Real quick, Tina, she did comment again. She did say there was 3 gods there. So mistaken. Sorry about that. Yeah, 3 gods. Okay, we just said there was 2.
It being Artemis's arrow. That's the arrow that they shot.
Yes, that's what it was. Okay, yeah, there you go. See, man, she got that too. Thanks, Tina. but yeah, man, I just
Just to speak of the gods, like this, part 2 is the scene where we got Darkseid's invasion in its true form, and once again, it's Darkseid's invasion, not Steppenwolf. It was at a greater scale, right? Like, and you know, it was still Wonder Woman kind of telling this tale, right, to Batman, but under a different context altogether. Like, they weren't walking down by the lake, and then, you know how like on the original cut, Cyborg was like spying.
Yeah,
like, that was all filled in.
Yeah, dude,
because at this point, Cyborg knew that. Like, Cyborg knew all this stuff, and
because he was created by the mother boxes, that's how he knew. Like,
he was able to just research it.
That's what I did not get. I was all like, okay, he's created by the mother box in the theoretical cut. I was all like, how does he not know what the hell's going on? Like, he was created by them. How does he not understand? Like, he's supposed to understand every single piece of technology here. And it didn't really touch up on it. And I was like, okay, what the hell? He doesn't know anything. Like, what's the point of Cyborg then? What's the point of him? Being he's supposed to know, and technology's supposed to bend his will and everything. And I don't know. I did not like that in the Joss Whedon cut. And then obviously that totally changed here, and he knew a lot more than what he said.
Yeah, and to keep like for some people, because I saw some people complain, like saying that Darkseid was like too much of a weakling as opposed to what we're used to in the comic books. But like it wasn't too apparent here. But the fact that he's not wearing his armor, like this was young Darkseid.
Yeah.
At this point, I actually don't even think that he was going by Darkseid. His name is Uxas.
Yes.
And Snyder, when he was releasing pictures of that scene, he would say like young Uxas and stuff like that. So this was like, and once again, the fact that Wonder Woman, considering how old Wonder Woman is, like Wonder Woman wasn't alive for this. So this was many years back. As you can see, like by the way that like the human or like the army of man, like what they were wearing, like this was way back in the day. And like I said, like the old gods were still walking amongst man and all that stuff.
Yeah.
So it was just super epic. Just like I said, just letting it breathe a little more. And seeing Darkseid a little bit in action, like once again, young Darkseid. He didn't even use the Omega beams in that scene.
Yeah, dude, that scene.
I don't know if he even had them.
Yeah, dude. I mean, that was a weird Darkseid. I was like, what the hell? Why does he not have armor? Why is he not like? What the hell's going on here? And again, though, I forgot when they were telling the story. I forgot that this is a long time ago, man. I mean, obviously. Now in that, I think when he's sitting down, we see him in his throne, in the fire in the background. Does he have armor, or is he just sitting down?
No, at that point he had armar.
He had armor. Okay, yeah. So I was all like, okay, so this is present Darkseid, and this is obviously he learned his lesson because he got screwed. He got effed up, man. That was crazy. I did not expect that.
That axe like right to his neck,
dude. That was Ares, I think.
And that was cool. And they actually put the face of the actor from the first Wonder Woman in it. It was
kept his stupid mustache.
But for those that don't know, so IGN posted like a nice little tidbit of the visual effects artist talking about that scene, and they were talking how like for those that may be doubting that like, oh, that got added afterwards. No, like the visual effects artist confirmed like that was the original plan. So basically what they did is they went back to the OG drafts, like the OG VFX files that they had, because it was gonna be Darkseid. And then of course with the news that the movie was gonna be rated R, they did some tweaks. For example, like the death of the Lantern, like it was Darkseid actually just chopping off his hand.
Dude, that was crazy. And he was trying to get the ring too. That was pretty awesome.
I thought that was really cool. They did say
because I don't think he knew what it did. And so he was like, because he looked real curious, when he was trying to pick it up, like, what is this power? Like, he got his power from it. Can I get power from it? And then it just flew off to the next lantern.
Darkseid with a Green Lantern.
Yeah, dude, that's insane, man. That is nuts, dude. I'm telling you, dude. Like having that, and it's funny too, because I mean, imagine if Batman would have gotten it. I'm just saying, his will would be strong, brother. His will would be strong. Man, that Darkseid invasion was very, very more detailed in this film than obviously that. I mean, comparing it to the last one, I mean, Dylan, what did you prefer? Which Darkseid invasion did you prefer, man?
I mean, there was only that main one. I mean, I don't know. He didn't actually evade in the end. He just had the window.
No, like I'm sorry, like the theoretical cut, or like I guess the storytelling of it.
Definitely this one. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
You can throw the theatrical cut away. Then it's hold nothing.
He said throw it away. All right, that's it. We're not. That's it. He's ready to get rid of it.
The one I already talked about. The one scene I would pull from that movie. It's other than that, throw the rest of it away.
If that was the only one, then I don't think you're I don't think you're irrational. If you had said any other but that one, just because once again, that one, at least it came from something. It's just, it was placed in there for the purpose of reworking some other stuff.
Yeah. The rest of the movie, just toss it out. It was pretty bad.
Awesome. All right, well, let's go to part 3, guys. The heart. Let's talk about that, man. I mean, dude.
Yeah, this is where we go into Cyborg's story pretty much, and I think, I'll be completely transparent, because there was times where Snyder in interviews was saying Cyborg is the heart of my movie. He made that clear.
He said this is his movie.
I've heard him say that. Yeah.
And at the time, I had my my doubts, right?
Mm-hmm.
Just because I knew stuff was cut out. But at the same time, I was like, I don't know. Like, Ray Fisher's performance was a little stale. Like, he was supposed to be robotic, but it seems like that was all it was. And like, in my head, being very naive, I was like, how much could they had cut out that would have made him the heart of the movie? And of course, watching the movie, it becomes very apparent that it was a lot of his stuff in particular, and his that stuff that got cut out. And I know we're talking about spoilers and we're breaking it down into parts, but like, it was very apparent at the end of the movie that he truly had a big plot line inside of this movie that did make me feel that he accurately portrayed the heart of the movie.
Yes. I also feel like it's kind of like more it's more of a necessity. Like, how do you tell a story of 3 mother boxes and not talk about him? You know what I mean?
Yeah. Because he was created by it, yeah.
Exactly. Like you can't tell the story and him not be at the center of it, So.
No, I got you. Yeah. And that's the thing I talked about on Lex on and off camera, is that I liked it because we, again, going back to the theoretical cut, I thought Cyborg was a prick, man. He was acting like a prick the whole time in the last movie, man. I was just like, what the hell why is he acting like this? It didn't really touch up on his character development because we didn't understand his whole situation. Now that we fully understand it, I'm like, oh crap, he's been through he's been through a lot, and he lost his one and only mother, of course. But it didn't really justify I'm not gonna say, of course, losing a mother, of course that's a heartbreaking situation. Course, it's just they didn't really detail like his mother was everything to him. Like she was there for all his games. She was there for a lot more. She was more of his parent. She was more his parent, like his parent than his own father was, because his own father was always at Star Labs, and we didn't really they didn't really touch up too much on that. And I liked, and the relationship too was very awkward. They touched up more on it on this film. They got to see a lot more of it. Also, we got to see a lot more of his powers here, man. Like, I got to see him, break a recording and then put it right back together. That was freaking legit. And I'm skipping toward the end, but yeah, that was pretty awesome. Like, awesome to see there, man. That was pretty dope.
Well, they really set him up to be like a digital god. Like, there was a segment. As he should be. Yeah. there was a segment of his father walking through his powers and telling, as well, with like a beautiful visual sequence of Cyborg kind of like in his own mind looking at the things that he could do, and it was talking about how those nuclear weapons that are spread across the world, you can launch them.
Got it.
Just your thought.
Yeah,
you can. I don't think this was said, but like they made it apparent, like you can shift the economical power, like just in a single thought. Like it's,
and then he showed us
so many things, and then he showed us through a beautiful sequence of him scanning through the life of this lady dealing with money problems, and therefore affecting her whole lifestyle and the lifestyle of her kid, and then him just adding funds to that, right? And they parallel that with a sequence of his mom talking to his college director, where he was caught hacking the school system. Before he had his powers, he was already playing with some hacking, but he hacked the school system to help this student pass the class. But then his mother defended him by saying, like, hey, that student just experienced a death in the family. She needed to pass. So like, I'm not going to punish my son for doing something that was right. Or at least where his heart was in the right place. So that tells us a lot more about who Cyborg was even before becoming Cyborg, and how that now reflects giving his ability. Like, it was just a nice moving moment. And whereas before, like, we just couldn't understand what his morality.
That's the kind of stuff that, like, I can't sit here and think, like, why would you cut that? Like, what in your mind said, hey, I gotta cut this from the movie?
Exactly.
Why?
I totally agree there.
So stupid, man. It makes me mad.
Yes.
And not gonna get too much into this point in itself, but we've seen, for those people that have seen or follow Ray Fisher, we've seen him, stand claims and submit reports and set off investigations against the way production was dealt, right? And wait, let me finish. I haven't even said anything. What I'm saying though is that, from behind the scenes, we were never really in his shoes, right? But now seeing just like the movie in itself, you can see his frustration of not only his work being cut out and the character that he worked hard to build along with the writers and Zack Snyder being cut out. Like, if he experienced that plus things behind the scenes where just he wasn't being treated right, or people weren't being given the credit that they deserved and things like that, like, I understand it, and it made me, like, out of all the characters, his in particular, his stuff being cut out, just it really pissed me off. Like Dylan say, like, how can you look at that and just say, let's chop that? It's a disservice.
I don't think, and that's the thing too, like, I don't think he should have gone after, I mean, that's a whole different situation. I don't think Joss Whedon was the guy to go after. I really don't. I think it was more Warner Brothers, and we saw that they canned over his movie. They're no longer making a Cyborg movie. They canceled it because of that, because he kind of went, I'm not gonna say he went overboard. He just went on social media a lot and talked badly about the studio. And when you do that, when you do that about any type of studio, I mean, it could be a job too. Like, I mean, don't expect for companies to stay with you for, like, after that, No,
I understand. I understand. There's things that he's approached it in a different way than I would, but I also didn't experience what he did. What I'm saying though is that I think, at least on my end, I add a little bit more credibility to his battle and his journey, seeing that if you see other things that he's brought up, he wasn't even like bitching or complaining about, like, oh, y'all cut off my whole story. He was complaining mainly about things behind the scenes. And now that I see like, wow, they cut out, they butchered his character, and the things that he's reported to Warner Brothers are not even about that. So that kind of just tells me where his priorities are. And it just kind of, once again, I'm not in those shoes. I don't know exactly. There's always two stories to a thing, right? But I can't imagine, like, the things that he must have dealt with, like, behind the scenes, for him to prioritize that over, hey, you guys completely butchered my character. That's what I just kind of appreciate.
I just feel like, I mean, regardless, like, when you're going to be frustrated if you're like you get a lot of screen time, and again, it's on your resume. I mean, let's be honest here. It's on your resume. It's on your film resume, and you get to prop it up, and that's how you get the next gig, the next job. I would have been pissed off from the get-go about that crap. I mean, you took me out of the most film, like, regardless. I completely understand that. I do. It's just like, I mean, again, it's just one of those things to where, like, I don't think it was Joss Whedon's idea. It's just like, hey, Warner Brothers was like, oh crap, we got to hire somebody real quick. You, Joss Whedon, since you made Avengers, we're going to get you. Since you made Avengers and Avengers Age of Ultron, we're going to choose you. Oh, by the way, you only have 2 hours. That's it. So, and for him to take out, because I think if you put it all together, how much is this story really? It's like probably like 30 minutes, I would say, like 30, 40 minutes of his story. If you were to put most of his startup, I guess, story, his origin, so to speak. Because I mean, originally it was supposed to be Cyborg and a Flash film together, and then that got canned, and then they were not. Now they're on their own separate movies, but Flash Paradox is still in the works, and Cyborg got canned, so we don't know what's the deal there. So, but furthermore, into that situation, I just, I don't think it was Joss Whedon's. I mean, I didn't like it. I hated it. But again, I blame Joss Whedon. Yes, of course, we're all gonna blame him. But I just feel like it's both Warner Brothers and Joss Whedon. And I saw a meme the other day, and it was like it showed all DC Zack Snyder's cut. It literally showed it, right? A meme, and it said, Warner Brothers is its own worst enemy to DC. Like, it's its own worst enemy, man. Like, it's stupid and dumb. I was like, Dude, like, why y'all have every single property? You know what's funny? We talk about this a lot in the Marvel stuff. Is that Marvel was split up, right? Spider-Man had Sony was Spider-Man, X-Men was Fox at the time, and we see this whole situation of just like them trying to get the characters back. But freaking DC has been with Warner Bros. This whole time from the get-go, brother. And how do they not made all these movies is beyond me. Is way beyond me. I think DC should have had their own movie studio, kind of like how Marvel has their own movie studio. I mean, Marvel has their own movie studio regardless, but at the time when they first started out, they didn't because they were having other production companies, which we saw Paramount help them out on a lot of films and all that stuff. And again, I just it's a very touchy subject. I wish that I wish Warner Brothers would just stop being in the mood and just, you know what, DC, y'all do what y'all do. We're gonna make our own movies. And we're still making money, just like New Line Cinema. New Line Cinema makes their own movies. I mean, let's be honest, it's New Line Cinema with Warner Brothers help boosted them. But New Line Cinema would not be without Freddy Krueger. Let's be honest, that's Freddy Krueger's house. It would not be anything without Freddy Krueger when it first came out, when they first started out. And again, though, we talk about these films all over again. It's just the foundation of it is just like let DC have their own. They need like their own Kevin Feige there. They really do. They need someone to lead her, to be a lead. Not Lex. Who is it? Jeff Johns. Not Jeff Johns. Not him.
What's that? What's that name right there on your shirt?
I've heard reports of him. I think I heard like he doesn't want to do another DC film because of the bad. I don't
necessarily blame him. Well, he did say that he's keeping hope that there will be another one that he will get to do. Part 2. He's not giving up. But honestly, I think they would have been 1,000 times better off if they would have just let the dude run. Let the dude tell his story. And I think it would have been amazing if they would have just let it go.
Yeah. There was just a bunch of stuff. Like Flash was a lot smarter, right? He chimed in a lot more into some scientific conversations with the League, talking about some theory or things that he can do and all that stuff. He was still jittery, right? Like that's kind of like Ezra Miller adding his DNA into the Flash character, but he didn't have like pointless like one of the things about the Whedon cut that I really hated was just the whole brunch joke, because it wasn't even a joke. Yes, it was setting up like, oh, let's get brunch later. It was so stupid.
I didn't like that because he's all like, "What's brunch? Brunch is like I
don't understand it." Yeah,
like it was like an annoying joke. It was like the annoying. Don't even pick. I was almost like, "What really, Batman? Don't pick him. Just leave him there. Just leave that guy there."
How do you cut some of the Cyborg story and be like, you know what? Let's bring Ezra Miller for OT. I really need this brunch line in there. And I don't know. It's once again some things I don't understand.
I don't know what goes through that. I don't know what goes through.
There was a whole scene that he reworked when when Batman got down with Barry after he recruited him to meet Diana. He reshot a whole scene just to have the shot be from showing Wonder Woman's butt.
But that was awesome. Like Gal Gadot's butt. Yeah. I'm not gonna argue there.
How are you gonna hey, let's go ahead and add, it's seconds worth of a scene, but it's like, hey, let's bring production back to fill in some of the gaps that got left by my cuts.
It's funny. My wife was just like, I'm glad that Gal Gadot scene's not there. I was like, why? I liked it, man. I liked it. I was like, that was a good little few-second scene, but again, though, it was just pointless camera angles, and we all know what he was thinking in his mind. But again, there's just some scenes that are just ridiculous in the Joss Whedon cut. But I mean, so just the whole. The whole Steppenwolf, just we saw the recruiting, we saw, the Cyborg come in, and all that stuff. Cause dude, there's just all this stuff is going on here, right? All this mixtures of stuff is happening. And this is we're only on part 3 right now on the notes. So, that's going to be a lot. We'll actually, we'll probably touch up a little bit because I know we went a little off. We'll probably do a part 2, Dylan. Okay. We're going to do a part 2 to this because so that part 4 is gonna be for about a good hour, I would say. That we're
well, yeah, 'cause part 4 is gonna be juicy. Like, and just to recap, like that whole recruiting thing. One thing that was really apparent to me is, I remember when Batman was recruiting Flash. Mm-hmm. I was just texting my friends on the side, just letting them know, like, guys, this is a whole different movie.
Yes.
And I told them, I'll tell you this right now, Batman is just recruiting Flash, and at this time, the Whedon cut is getting into the final battle. Mm-hmm. And I was like, that is just
mind blowing, brother.
I still have like 2 hours worth of movie.
I had a couple friends saying, like, I was one of those that I always like held strong. I was like, no, this movie's going to be entirely different. It's not going to be the same thing. I was like, you're going to see. And I had friends that were just like, it's going to be, a couple of different cuts and like maybe arranged differently and some scenes expanded. And I was like, I don't know, man. Like, I think this is going to be a totally different movie. And pointing it out like that, like, this movie was like way off in a good way. Like, it was way better.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, totally different film. And a lot of people, it's funny too, because average moviegoers are just like, oh, it's the same movie, just long. I was like, what? I was what? You made no sense. I was
so like, this is what I told my friends, the same thing, the same argument that Dylan made, but I broke it down like, okay, we're all smart. We can all follow math.
Some are smart. Let's clarify this out.
If the Whedon cut was 2 hours and the Snyder cut is 4 hours, at this point the timing was confirmed to be 4 hours.
Yeah, 4 hours and
I
2
was like,
minutes.
how can they only add a few scenes? Let's say they keep everything Whedon did, and they won't, but let's say they keep everything Whedon did.
Yeah.
How are they going to just add a few scenes but be 2 hours longer? Let's just
I was like, there's no way.
There's no way.
And then when they started doing promos and they were actually showing Darkseid, I was like, that's a whole like plot in itself. Like, they're going to add a whole different plot. Like, there's no way they just extend, the theatrical cut.
For sure, man. I mean, this again, though, it's funny, man, because I've heard people say that. It's like, oh, it's the same movie, just longer. What? Do you not understand the math behind it? This runtime is totally, even if you have those extra scenes, I would say it's like an extra 30 minutes on top. That's like going your best footage, editing and everything, like really going overboard on footage. If it is the same movie, but it's not. It's totally different runtime. I've heard people say like, oh, it's only good just that one time. And again, though, it's a long movie. Let's be honest here. And it's a long movie. I know everyone was dreading it. But again, though, let's be honest here. Masterpieces of films. And this has, and I saw people say, oh, this is the longest movie. And I was like, no, there hasn't. There's been the 10 Commandments. There's been The Godfather. There's been, I mean, dude, there's Zack Snyder's not he's not the one that started the 4 hour runtime, it just
isn't the Lord of the Rings like the full cut?
Lord of the Rings, that was another one I was gonna mention. 30? Exactly. Like Lord of the Rings. That's exactly what I had that on my notes too.
I always feel like a good movie doesn't have to be long, and a long movie isn't always good.
Yes.
But in this instance, this movie, this story needed this much time to be told, and it worked. For me, it worked.
Yeah,
absolutely. I agree.
Yeah, it was a setup, man. And let's be honest here. He's not the main. I mean, he was the main villain for this film, but he is not. He is not the main. What do you call it? He's not the main. I guess the villain per se. The main, real main villain in here in this film. But yeah,
like I have to say, like just to Dylan's point, like one thing I've told people from the very beginning. When I'm defending the Snyder cut and all this stuff, like I tell them, like,
we lost him. We lost him. Oh man, he was talking. Okay, sorry about that, guys. We lost him. All right,
mid-sentence,
freaking Lex. All right, guys, we're gonna keep talking here. So, Dylan, man, I mean, going back to this, part 3 right here, because we're not gonna talk about part 4, guys. We're gonna leave that. We're gonna have 2 spoilers here. Okay, here, wait, we got Lex back.
Yeah.
Oh, he's back.
My window actually closed by accident.
Mid-sentence, brother.
Man was super excited. He was getting
it. Imagine that's how like it ended and it says part 2 coming soon or something like that.
See, that's what I was talking about with Angela. I was like, would this film been better if we would have seen it in part 2 and just like that opening scene and then we're about to go into battle and then boom, Part 2 coming later this year.
But sorry about that, guys. I was just gonna say, like, to Dylan's point, like, I've defended the Snyder Cut and telling people, trust me, I agree. A movie doesn't have to be 4 hours long to be good, right? Yeah. But I do tell them, like, it's just, there's a resume, right? Zack Snyder does better with more time. Batman versus Superman extended cut was better than the Batman versus Superman. Watchmen had an extended cut, and it just lets a lot more things breathe. There are going to be some people that, and Zack Snyder has done shorter movies too that are good, but I think him in particular, like, it's just, you have to analyze, okay, what are his strengths, right? He's a very visual director. He does this and this and that. He does tend to work better on longer times. And then you have to analyze the ask. What was the ask of him in this movie? The ask of him was to introduce the Justice League, and out of the Justice League, we've only seen 3 characters so far. I know there was a small cameos, but we're talking about Wonder Woman, Batman, and Superman, right?
Yeah.
Those characters we have seen. We're asking them to introduce another set of characters for the very first time. And then they're telling him to do it in 2 hours?
I also think that if this would have been his theatrical cut, it would not have been this long. I feel like it was this long because he knew this was a one and done. I want to tell as much of my story as I can tell.
He had a plan from the get-go to start off Justice League 2 and 3, if I'm not mistaken. I've heard interviews of. And that's the thing, too. I was just like, if we would have got the theoretical cut out of this, the actual Zack Snyder theoretical cut, it would not have been this long. I'm not going to argue. I'm going to say it for the facts. It would not have been this long. But again, just like Lex already elaborated, you have to set up you have to set all the characters to meet up for the very first time. So it's like Avengers and Age of Ultron. You have to make those movies in one, because you have to go up a villain. They have to meet together real quick. And then you have to really set it up to where, like, you have to set up Cyborg's backstory, because Cyborg doesn't have a backstory. So it's not like Marvel, everyone has their own movie. That's not the case here. I mean, no one has really had their own movie besides Man of Steel, really, besides him. And just like, it's very hard to create this story to have people care about these characters. But again, this movie really did help us care about those characters a lot more. For sure. Let's see. Hang on, let's go to the comments real quick. David Lozano says Josh was being messed up to Ray and many females in the past, apparently. Yeah, we've heard allegations and reports and all that stuff. So that's not always good. I could say Josh Whedon's probably not going to be in a few more projects from now, at least for a little while. I even heard Buffy people were coming out, but that's another story. But yeah,
I do think on that point, just real quick. Yeah. Before Snyder Cut, I was worried of Ray Fisher getting work from now on, but I do think seeing his work here in Snyder's Cut.
Yeah.
So it's. I mean, acting is no easy road, regardless.
Yeah, of course.
Right. I do think there's things to highlight here where he can. I think he's gonna find some work, especially, if he finds an environment where he's able to be creative and he's able to play roles that challenge him and expand.
Yeah. The last thing I saw him in was True Detective season 3, I think, or 4. He plays it's like his Raptor. Yeah.
He's isn't he the son of Mahershala Ali?
Ali, yeah, there you go. Thank you. Yeah,
that's cool. Exactly. I actually didn't see that one, although I heard that one was good.
It was good. It was good. Not as good as the Matthew McConaughey and the other one, but it's good. It's good.
Oh no, that was a masterpiece.
Yeah, yeah, it was great. Let's see. None of the Lord of the Rings were 4 hours. Actually, David, Lord of the Rings: The Return of the King, 4 hours and 11 minutes to be exact. Sorry, brother. I mean, it's on IMDb. I double checked it. I was like, I'm looking 4 hour movies. That movie was 4 hours and 11 minutes long, brother. Okay, so just correcting you on that.
That's the extended cut, though, right?
Yes,
that's what I was referring to.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Just to clarify, so there is, but yeah.
Let's see, David. What did you guys think of all the musical interludes? Lex, I guess or Lex and Dylan, I guess you guys were talking more on the score here.
A couple of them I liked, a couple of them I thought were unnecessary.
Yeah. I agree. Once again, 50-50.
And it wasn't so much that it was a musical interlude. It was the music that was in the interlude was what I had a problem with. It didn't fit what I thought the tone of that scene was.
Which is I'm complete opposite there, brother. I really am. I love that dramatic. I mean, even when it was changing scenes, because again, we got to see a little bit more different here, as far as like even the certain scenes like went from to especially like I know a lot of people did not like. I saw people's comments on Reddit, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, nonstop of how every time Gal Gadot went on scene, Wonder Woman, they kept playing her song every now and then. Like though you'll hear the song in the background. I was like, what? I mean, I loved it in BBS. That was awesome. Seeing her when it first came on camera and hear that song, that was legit. I love that song. But again, it's not for everybody, I guess. And I don't know. I just loved it whenever they gave them their own songs, kind of, so to speak.
I like that. Yeah. Like when they play their score,
yeah, exactly,
and their moments. I think, I mean, going back to the Aquaman scene, that was one I didn't really like. There was a couple, like I said, there was a couple scenes with Flash that had music that didn't need music.
Yeah, slow-mo one.
The slow-mo one, I did not like. Okay, I'll give you that. The music I did not like. I wish it was. I did like to see. We got more the Flash slow motions in there. We got to actually see his potential into Flash Paradox, so to speak. Kind of. We saw that a little bit here. How powerful he can really get. And I'll agree to that one. That's the only one I'm agreeing with you, Dylan. No, that's the only one. That's the only score. No more. Don't you talk crap about my Snyder cut. I'm just kidding. Let's see here. David saying streaming allows for longer form storytelling, and we should all embrace it. I'm totally on board with it. It's just I'll say it again. I know people obviously right now with COVID going on, the best experience is always going to be the theater to me. That's just me. I'm not going to say like I don't enjoy. I mean, I do love enjoying movies on my OLED TV. I do.
Yeah.
But theaters, there's just no better experience. Me and Lex went to go see Tenet there. I don't think it would have been the same experience if we would have watched it at home, because you hear that tick, you hear just every small little details of, and then also you get a full mega size screen. I mean, let's just be honest. No one has it in their house that big of a screen. I mean, there's no physical. There's no way on this. Obviously, if you're a millionaire, but yeah, I
agree with you in terms of like I don't want theaters to go away. Like the experience is something I want to protect. I do agree with it evolving a little bit right now. If I put myself in the shoes of a filmmaker, though, I think this is interesting. The Snyder Cut is an interesting thing because HBO once again had a little bit more flexibility. Mm-hmm. I know originally they wanted to break it up into 4 miniseries and things like that. But then they said, you know what? It's just probably better to just do the Snyder Cut altogether. Let's release it that way. Mm-hmm. What's interesting is, like we talked about in the previous episode on the original review, the studios, they operate as a business, and the theaters operate as a business as well. The studios will go ahead and sometimes prioritize like, hey, how many bookings can we have for a screening in a day, right? If your movie's 4 hour longs, and ignore the math here because it's going to be right, but if the movie's 4 hour long, we can book a screen 20 times in a single day. Once again, math is wrong, but But, if it's 2 hours, we can go ahead and get a lot more. So let's prioritize that. Make it 2 hours so that we fit X amount of showings per day per screen and all that stuff. Mm-hmm. So now I think with the success of the Snyder Cut, and probably there needs to be more reporting on it, right? But with the success of it, a director could now say like, hey, if you don't want to publish this as a studio, this story this long, I'm going to go ahead and go to a streaming service and take the story. I know that's not exactly how it works. Usually once the studio has you on board, but what I'm saying in the early stages when you're pitching a movie, right? Let's say the movie you're pitching and the vision that you're pitching, it's going to have to be 4 hours or something like that. And it's going to be an epic tale. Now you have more people to go to. Now you can go to the streaming services and tell them, hey, will you produce this movie or allow for this to be here? Or they'll put something in the movie theaters and then partner up with a streaming service.
I think what Lex is trying to say, and that how I'm understanding it, is now it is going to be a lot harder for studios like Warner Brothers to say, "Hey, we're giving you a 2 hour cap limit on your movie." I think that is going to be a harder conversation for them to have when directors and creators are going to be like, "Hey, look, man, this guy made a 4 hour movie and it worked,"
Yeah.
So I'm gonna go, I guess, because we're jumping off, I guess, the Snyder Cut. We're going to actual filmography. I mean, actual film here, not comic book films. So, prime example, Christopher Nolan. I love Christopher Nolan. Prime example. They have never ever given him, okay, you got 2 hours. Why? Because he makes a lot of money for Warner Brothers. When he was doing Interstellar, Universal, he was going to go to Universal. And he was going to use Legend. I think Legendary at the time was at Universal because Jurassic World Part 2 was at, or I think it was Jurassic. Yeah, that was Legendary. They were still with them, right? Because Warner Brothers lost Legendary. But anyways, so he was going to go over there and do Interstellar there. Well, Warner Brothers found out about this. They're all like, no, you can do whatever you want here. Runtime. His runtime was long. It was a little over 3 hours. I mean, dude, his runtime was long. That's a long movie. And at the time, it was just, he was right off the bat, he made Nolan, the Nolan verse of Nolan Batman that made a lot of money, man, like a lot of money for Warner Brothers. I just think it's particularly, it's definitely a case by case. I don't think Warner Brothers, it's not, because I mean,
but I don't
think it'll be a universal thing either.
Yeah.
Yeah. I just think the conversation will be harder to have.
Yeah.
With them.
I think, and that's the thing too, is that they need to eat their pride, both sides, not just Zack. I think both sides need to really sit down and be like, all right, Warner Brothers executives, we screwed up. Sorry, Zack. I'm so sorry, but I don't think it's gonna come down to that. How about next time we won't mess with your movies? And we'll just let you work your magic.
But I'm not talking about Zack no more. I'm just talking. I think the Snyder Cut is going to have an impact on the industry
as a whole.
It might be slow, but once again, there's more homes now. There's more homes for you to put your movie in, right? And once again, I think creators now, if you're looking for work, creator may position where, hey, if a studio picks me up, they'll pick me up, I'll make adjustments or whatever.
Yeah.
But there's going to be those directors that, hey, I have a specific vision, I have this. Guess what? I can start having conversations with Netflix. I can start having conversations with HBO Max. Like, right? Like, they might meet my specifications or give me that freedom. There's more houses now. So that's all I'm saying.
Okay. Yeah.
I'm thinking streaming services can capitalize from this. And like I said, it could even be like a twofold thing. Hey, you know what? Okay, let's go ahead and release my 2-hour version of this film. It still works. The previews screeners are doing well. Let's go ahead and run with that. But I have a partnership with X streaming service to run my extended cut, right? Like, once again, there's just more homes for things like this to happen. As a matter of fact, The Magnificent Eight did this with Netflix. They had the extended and they broke it into episodes. So I'm just saying, I think we're going to see a lot more of this. And I think creators are now in a position where if you have creative leverage, if you're someone like Nolan, right? And no one's going to say no to Nolan, but for other directors that may get a no, they have more people they can talk to now.
Agreed. Okay. Now I see your point. I totally agree there. It's just I feel like it's a case by case thing. But I mean, if this is the new thing now, everyone's just gonna be, all right. You know what? I'm gonna release the theoretical cut, then I'm gonna release the ultimate edition cut on Netflix. It's gonna be a bit like it's possible. But again, though, Netflix is on the game, and I think even Hulu wants to be on the game of being Oscar recognition. And that's the thing too, is that like you cannot, your qualifications in the Oscar race, and they've talked about it countless times, is that they need a show in theaters. So, and it's not, I mean, that's the thing though. It's just Netflix is trying to get in the Oscar game right now. They really have. They've been trying to get it by spending all that money on that Martin Scorsese film that came out last year. They're trying to push a lot of content right now as far as original films because they want to be known in the Oscars. Oh, movies, that's a Netflix film. What? Like, I feel like that's their goal, to win Best Picture in the Oscars, but it's gonna be very hard. I feel like even because, I mean, you have to show in theaters. And again, though, I see what you're saying, though, as math-wise, is that if it's a 4-hour film, how many really, if you have it for one screen, how many times can you really show that in a day? Like, I mean, it's going to be a really broad, and even at that, how many screens?
How long are theaters open? What, like 12, maybe 14 hours a day? Maybe, 4-hour movie, you can get 3 screenings in.
Yeah,
that. Yeah, it's not viable in a movie theater.
Because I mean, we noticed that even for Avengers, it was just like, I mean, there was like 6. They had more than half of their screens are always available for Marvel. We know that, That's a fact. We've seen that countless times because you see the show times when we pre-COVID, we saw the show times like every 5 to 15, 30 minutes there was a screening, like there was available, you could book it. And again, though, I don't know. I just feel like they should probably just do the Ultimate Edition on the streaming service and but you never know, man. You never know these days. Obviously, with theaters, with all the stuff, that's the main subject here that we are really addressing. Because sad face, the draft house, and all that stuff. They're suffering right now. The theaters are, of course, because like Lex already said, it's a business. They have to make their money, just like every theater company, just like every studio. They have to make their money. Let's go back to the comments. Real quick, heartbreaking thing is that the Snyder cut is not canon. Justice League is the official film story. Canon going forward. So as of right now, yes, that is correct. That has been established.
The more heartbreaking thing was that I heard that he pitched comics. He wanted to continue it in comics, and then they shut that down too.
Okay.
That to me is more heartbreaking.
Oh man.
Than it not being canon.
They did it with Smallville.
I understand them not being canon. Like I get it, they're gonna stand with their guns and not make it canon. But why not let the dude continue it in comics? Like why kill that?
Because it's what they're. Because I even heard there's so many rumors going around. Like I even heard he wasn't able to use a certain superhero because Warner Bros. Is planning to use him.
Because that's already been proven. I mean, they have the show. They have the Lantern show coming.
Yeah. What's weird about specifically DC, right? I know Marvel's getting in it, but there's some multiverse, right? Canon doesn't even
what is canon?
What is canon exactly?
If anything, Darkseid's probably going to destroy the Justice League universe. He's going to take over and just destroy it. So
he's going to be like, Joss Whedon, you made a terrible movie. Earth to whatever Earth number you are, I'm going to destroy it, and you got nothing on me.
Darkseid's going to take over that world.
And then
end of story.
He's gonna try to go to Zack Snyder's Earth and be like, "Oh crap, never mind, headed back."
These guys can actually fight.
They know what they're doing.
Yeah. It's so weird because in I don't want to go too much over time, but I know in DC fandom,
we're going over questions, guys. So
one thing that the executives really talked up was we're embracing the multiverse, and this is the reason why we're allowing filmmakers to do their own thing, the Matt Reeves situation, right? His is not connected to the Justice League.
Just throwing this out there, going from today onward, the Matt Reeves universe is the only universe that I want to be a part of as far as DC goes. I will give James Gunn's Suicide Squad.
I was gonna say
that one a shot because I love James Gunn, but after that, I'm just
What about Shazam?
Shazam. Yeah, Shazam. Dude,
Dwayne The Rock Johnson.
Yeah, Black Adam, baby's coming out next year. Dude,
I'm not that big of a rock. I'm not that big of a rock as a movie star.
Oh my
fan.
I better not see you sharing your thoughts in that movie, man.
Yeah, what the heck?
You can have it. You can have it.
I'm gonna be in the comments.
Dude,
be like, "Nah, man,
Rock?
you said this and this and that."
Bro, okay, from the Scorpion King, he's learned a lot. He's an actual actor now. Come on, bro.
I mean, he's not terrible, but he's not. I don't put him up there on my list. I don't. Oh, The Rock is playing in this. I need to go see it. I don't think I've seen but a couple of those. Most of The Rock's movies I've seen are the Fast and the Furious ones. Outside of that, I don't really.
Except the spin-off of that one. The that was terrible. Me and Justin wanted to walk out of the theater.
I never watched it.
I think it was.
I never will watch it. Hobbs and Shaw.
God, dude, that was terrible. Jesus Christ, that was a terrible movie. I wanted to just leave that theater. Me and Justin were like, "Oh my God,
Poor Ryan Reynolds. He got dragged into that.
Oh God, yeah. Oh man. Well, Ryan Reynolds, I don't think he's that funny, but it is what it is. I know everyone's gonna hate on me on that. I'm sorry, man.
Everyone's hating over here.
I'm sorry.
I'm not a hater, guys. Y'all can.
I'm not a hater. Awesome. Justin, what the hell? Justin, you can't be on the show, but you can comment on here. What the hell? I'm just kidding. All right, Justin is a part of this show, guys. Just in case everyone is asking out there, let's read his comment here. Do you think with the positive reviews of Zack's of SC that Affleck might consider coming back as Batman? Don't know if y'all talked about this. So we're actually answering a question right now. So we haven't talked about this.
Yeah.
He's done, and I'm glad he's done. I'll leave it at that.
Jesus.
Oh man.
Well, no. Well, all I'm gonna say is I agree. I don't think he's gonna change his mind. If I put myself in his shoes, if Warner Brothers doesn't have a clear direction of what they want to do, I don't want to be in the middle of that mess. And it's too much stress for him. It's too much stress for his career.
No one likes a fat Batman. That's all I'm saying. I'm just saying.
He looked great for the reshots.
Okay.
He lost a lot of weight.
In Josh Whedon cut, it was after his workouts. Like he wasn't fit anymore. So like in the Josh Whedon cut, he was like more. It was weird. Like he looked more chunkier in certain scenes than he did in the other one. That's
not his fault. He's off season.
And hey, I know, but I'm just saying, like, I didn't like him. Man, dude,
but he was in really good shape for the nightmare sequence. That was
that one was good. Okay, yeah,
but that one was going good, back to like right now though. Like, have y'all seen pictures of him now?
Yeah, he looks really good.
I don't think he looks good, bro. I think he looks sick. I think he looks sick, bro. He's like ridiculously skinny.
Well, yeah, I mean, but he went through rehab and he did a lot of detox and stuff. That's kind of what happens at that point.
Yeah, I mean, I understand that part of it, but I don't know.
I think for someone that's really going through a lot of personal issues, I feel like he should not be in a universe like this. He should focus on, I guess, his personal stuff first, and then he could deal with, go back to filmmaking. But I don't know. For something like this, though, I feel like it's not. I'm not gonna say I didn't like him at all. I loved him more as Bruce Wayne than I did as Batman, and that's weird for me to say. I know it's weird.
I thought he was one of the few actors that actually did really good in both, but.
Okay.
Yeah,
I still prefer
in the suit. I will say yes, his Bruce Wayne shined brighter than his Batman, but I felt like he did really good in the suit. I felt like he looked good in the suit.
I'm always gonna hold like Ben Affleck as peak Batman when it came to that warehouse scene.
Yeah.
In BVS, like that was great. I'm glad to see. Who knows what may come in the future, but I'm glad to have seen a Batman do that to people in just all its glory. Like, awesome. I really appreciate Ben for that.
Yeah, I got you.
But I don't think he'll come back. I wouldn't. Like,
I don't. Yeah, I don't think he's gonna come back.
And I don't think he just wants any part of that.
For sure. Oh. All right, let's see. Quentin Rodriguez. I thought there was a lot of unnecessary slow motion. I think so. Yeah, as far as we covered that. Agreed. We're not going to argue with you there. I feel like I feel like more of the slow motion was for Flash.
For Flash, I understand. Yeah, and even just from other, there were some scenes where the slow mo was like, that's cool. Whoa, but. It's just, I mean, it's Snyder. If we look at every like
it gets a little annoying though.
It's not for everyone. I even agree. I have a limit. I have a cap.
Got a pussycat over there. Can I pet it?
If you can,
you can. So I'll say it again. It was okay. It was okay, slow motions, but it was getting a little overboard. I thought it was just gonna be one or two, but obviously we got a little bit more than that.
David did make a good point. Ben Affleck is coming back for Flash.
Yes, Flash Paradox. Yeah.
Well, the role will not be big.
Yeah. I was talking about after that, because that he did confirm like, hey, this is my goodbye. So
is 4 hours. I stand corrected. Never heard anyone make a big deal about it. David, brother, I know you, man. Come on, brother. Come on. Let's see here. That's the staple of Snyder films. Yeah, I mean, Lex rated 300. Yeah, for sure, brother. For sure.
I think he even had it in the what's that Owl movie that he did, animated movie, Guardians of the something. It's an animated movie that's Zack Snyder directed. It's about owls and their guardians, and even that had slow mo.
Yeah. Let me see here. The Flash film might change the game for franchises going forward. It is. Again, they even gave hints that it's going to restart Batman. I just don't know how it's going to really correspond with the other universes, like the Shazam, Black Adam. Like, it's very confusing. I feel at a loss for words as far as like, what are you gonna do? Like, what is there's really no like.
I still think they're gonna go. I think they're gonna go Batman Beyond with Keaton being the mentor.
Okay. I could see that. Yeah,
it's gonna be weird.
You know what's funny? A lot of fans, they've talked about it. Even Gecko, I would not be surprised if Michael Keaton is playing the old Bruce Wayne where he has Batman Beyond there. that would be pretty cool just to see, like, I mean, him not be
if he already has a Batman Beyond.
Yeah, like if he already has his apprentice already, like it'll be Batman Beyond time, like when he sees Michael Keaton. Because now it'll be like, all right, we're just gonna please the fans, give the fans a little bit of a teaser here, and then we're just gonna, because I mean, there's a lot of talks for Batman Beyond. Really for the fans, it's not Warner Bros. It's the fans. They want to see that. Maybe they'll give us a little taste here out of it, because I mean, it's going different Batmans. I just hope we don't get George Clooney Batman. I mean, yeah, that's a little, yeah.
George Clooney was Batman.
Oh, come on, man. Come on, brother. Let me see here. David Lozano, executives need to embrace the multiverse. Yeah, man. It just comes down to money. I mean, it's always about money. That's the only situation here I would see out of this. It's always about money. It's about how this film really, how they can make money off of it. And also, just remember, there's not really a leadership here, which I hate about DC. It's not really a leadership per se for the DC cinematic universe, I would say. Yeah, but yeah, I mean, I hope all for the best. I'm a DC fan. I know we're all DC fans here. We love, except Captain America fan over there, Dylan.
Hey man, I'm a Batman fan too.
Okay, awesome.
You can see the posters.
Where?
Right here.
Oh,
it's hard to tell, but it's Batman.
Are you sure? It looks like a shirtless Chris Evans. I'm just kidding.
No, that's this one right here.
Oh, that's this. All right. Yeah, from the Scorpion King. Oh, yeah. Yeah, cool. Yeah, The Rock was in the Scorpion King. Let's see. We're reading off the comments here. Black Adam should have been in the Snyder Cut. I'm going to say no. I'm going to say because I feel like The Rock is so passionate about this project that he's really going to take his time with it. And I'm glad they took this time with it, because remember, it announced like what? How long has it been, Lex?
It's been like 4 years.
Yeah, it's been a while, man. I was gonna say 5. I was like, damn. I remember he announced it on Twitter. Yeah. He took a picture with one of the executives in Warner Brothers, and yeah, it's been a while, man. I mean,
I don't know if it's that dude that's holding it up or if it's studio that's holding it up, but I feel like that dude takes any job he can get, so I feel like he's always busy.
Yeah,
that's the DC movie that I feel has the most protection right now.
Yeah,
like they're not gonna, like, honestly, say what you say about The Rock. You may not like his movies. You may not like.
His name.
I'm a fan of the man,
yep,
but even just looking at the track record, he's got a little bit of that Midas touch, right? Like the movies may be crap, but they bring in money. And like Ryan
Hobbs and Shaw, dude. Hobbs and Shaw.
I actually had fun with that, but he can put out a bad movie and it's gonna bring money. And and with how much time they're taking with this, I expect there's little room for error. I could always eat my words on that, but I can tell you that's one that they're not gonna scrap. They're not gonna mess with it. There may be some direction, but I think that's out of the future films that are currently slated, even throwing Batman in there, I think that Black Adam's the one that has most of a shield around it.
For sure. And because it's it's the high class actor here, man. I mean, he's going to get people in the seats for sure. Dude, there's people that are the Rock fans like me, and people that buy his gear from Under Armour like me. I never liked Under Armour until The Rock signed on to Under Armour and he started coming out with his stuff. Rents due. Man, dude, that stuff is legit. I wear that stuff. That stuff is comfortable. Yeah, I wear this stuff, man. I'm sorry. Hey, Dylan's all like, really? He's all, really? Yes, really, yes. If they make The Rock's underwear, I would wear it. That's how, like, yeah.
He does.
He does. Oh, snap. Yeah, like that's not like I'm wearing it right now.
No, it's like it's too expensive, man. But I do.
You gotta protect your precious spot. That's all I'm saying.
You're gonna protect your rocks.
The rocks.
The rocks. For sure. Let me see. David Lozano. Batfleck is the best Batman. That's a bold statement, brother. But I mean, that's awesome. Hey, prove me wrong, brother. That's all I'm saying. That's another debate that I do not want to get into, because we'll probably be on here for another 30 minutes debating on that subject, because we could talk about all the different Batmans here. And yeah, I mean, I'm not gonna say he's the worst Batman. I'm not gonna say that whatsoever. No, hell no, he is not the worst Batman whatsoever.
To me, the best Batman is the one I haven't seen yet.
Oh man! Oh, okay, that's a good. Hey, dude.
I feel like the character is too broad and he's too wonderful to just narrow it down. I want to see all the interpretations.
Gotcha. I'm ready for it. I'm ready for. I guess because they announced the Batman movie, I'm not gonna. I mean, I'll agree to. I'm not really gonna agree to it yet because they've been a Batman movie announced for a while now, and I'm just gonna wait to see that because they haven't announced another. Obviously, they're not gonna restart the character again because this is gonna set up for future films. So I'll wait to see what Robert Pattinson does. I mean, we'll see it, man. And that trailer was a killer, man. That trailer was badass. I mean, on Vengeance, that was awesome. That was pretty cool. Because I was hoping him to say Batman, like I'm Batman, but I was like, nah, don't. That line's been used so many times, and I was like, nah, on Vengeance. That was cool. But yeah, for sure, like Robert Pattinson, like he's not only like. I mean, I feel like he's already in tune with himself, just like Christian Bale was. Like he's already identified like as a good, really great actor in certain films, and just like with Christian Bale. So I just feel like he could really create that ultra presence there. That Batman needs to hit that emotional level, almost to a sense to where I felt Christian Bale really did do a good job there. Let's see here. Justin says Snyder Cut was the first time I saw Justice League. Oh, really, dude?
Yeah, he never watched the theatrical cut.
Shut the hell up! I did not know this, Justin.
Yeah, he was as we were watching it. We were telling him we had to tell him comparisons.
I think he told me this. But I didn't believe him though. I was like, nah, you're messing with me. I never believed him. Wow.
No, he never watched the theatrical cut.
Wow. So he got to see the beauty in one masterpiece. Wow. Okay. Dang, man. Wow. Okay. I took a look at the old version and it looked like trash. He put a trash emoji. Yeah. I mean, we already talked about that nonstop.
It was pretty bad.
Yeah, pretty bad. David Lozano, I think Keane is going beyond. Yeah. I think so too. They could give us a teaser or they don't. He's just old Batman. I mean, it is what it is. I'm just gonna be happy to see those different kind of Batmans in those different worlds too. Just to see really like it's gonna be cool. Multiverse, Flash Paradox. We get to see Thomas Wayne actually become Batman in that Flash Paradox, like we see him in the comics and we see him in the animation. That'd be really good to see. I can't wait if we get to see that. That'll be pretty good. Never know. Pattinson could be the greatest Batman. Yeah, I mean, it could be, man. I mean, a lot of things could change, obviously, with the new film release date that's coming out. It's funny. I thought it was coming out this year, but it's not because of COVID. It sucks. It's not coming out next year.
It just finished filming. Like they just
I saw that. Yeah, I was all like, dang it.
It was gonna come out on my birthday week, I think. Let me check. Originally, before it got delayed.
Yeah.
Not my week. Oh, yeah, my birthday week. But then they moved it in March. Although March is not that far off, you know what I'm saying? Next March. I think later this year, like the movie already wrapped, so we should start getting some trailers like later in the year.
For sure. Alrighty, guys. Well, we are gonna go ahead and end it here. We haven't touched up on part 4. We're gonna leave that for the next episode because it was gonna be a huge long. It's gonna be like another hour talk there, guys. I will post it probably tomorrow when we're gonna go live and everything. Get with the guys here. We're gonna be talking about part 4, guys. That's probably gonna be another hour worth of talk here. This is probably the most we talked about a movie, I would say, right, Lex? Dylan, like the most.
Yeah.
Having 2 videos.
Yeah,
they're both gonna be at least an hour and a half. So.
Exactly. I mean, yeah, for sure. I can't wait to talk about part 4 because again, in that part 4, ladies and gentlemen, or I'm sorry, the part 4 we're talking about is gonna be part 4 of Justice League, Zack Snyder's Justice League. It's gonna be our part 2 of spoilers, which we are gonna be elaborate also on the franchise. What are their plans? We do a little bit more research. Is there really goals here? What are they really gonna? What's next? Is this really gonna shape up the whole field of DC films? Is this really going to change up everything? Is Warner Brothers really going to let up on this? We're going to see people's reactions. Maybe we'll see more news coming out from Warner Brothers later this week. So I can't wait to see it because, I'm excited to just talk about what's, and I know we touched up a little bit on it, like what's canon and all that. We'll elaborate more on that video, guys. So stay tuned, guys. Like our page on Facebook. Hit that subscribe button on YouTube, guys. Follow us on Twitch. And yeah, man, Lex, where can people find you at, brother?
You guys can find me over at the Lex Level. That is on Instagram. And on Twitch as well. You guys can go ahead and find me there if you are interested in any gaming content. And of course, for any other type of comic book, movie related podcast, I do have Not in Theaters that I co-host with my friend Josh. So go ahead and check us out there.
Yeah. Dylan, where can people find you at, man?
On Instagram, I am DylanEthan01. And on Twitter, I am DHaby, DHABY01.
Oh wow, that's a long way. Say it fast. I'm just kidding. Say it 3 times. I'm just kidding. Awesome, brother. Well, you know where anyone out there, guys, you know where you can find me at. It's Alamo City Movie Talk. And thank you guys for being on this journey with us. Thank you for sticking us. We have quite a few people sticking with us for this hour, and that's truly amazing. I really appreciate all you guys. I appreciate y'all's comments. Put on also on the comments down below. We'll get to the questions as soon as possible. It'll be featured on our show, guys, the next show as well. If you have any questions or anything like that, because we'll answer them to the best of our ability, because we're nerds that way. All right. and by the way, if you want to put the price tag on the Rocks underwear, that'll be awesome. So I could see how much they are, because I gotta protect your rocks, man. That's all I'm saying. I like that.
Trademark
I like that, Dylan. Yeah,
Trademark
I like that,
it.
Dylan. Yeah, that's good. That's a good.
Call Dwayne. I need to check.
Yeah, I need to check, Dwayne. Yeah, that's awesome. All right, have a good week, guys. Stay safe where I'm at. Have a good one, and stay safe, San Antonio. Check y'all later, guys.